Welcome to our webinar. I'm Jim Sharon. I'm with my beloved and phenomenal wife, Ruth Sharon.
Hello.
We are the founders of the HeartWise Relationship Academy. We and fellow presenters are dedicated to offering learning to enhance attitudes and skills for couples as well as singles who are wanting to learn more about actually developing fulfilling relationships.
That's right. We've dedicated ourselves for many, many decades. So we're going to share our screen here and put a little slideshow up for you to enjoy. So let's take a look. We're offering this HeartWise Relationship Academy as a service to our community, just to offer lots of learning. So we have had 46 years of experience with thousands of clients and our own 51-year marriage. So this is based on all our experiential and all the research. So we welcome you to the HeartWise Relationship Academy. So sit back and relax, and we'll just take a moment to look at some beautiful nature scenes. So take a little breath, settle in.
Pretty indeed.
Just feeling the tranquility of nature. Feeling the expanse. You might want to even imagine that our breath could come in and out from the sun and the water dancing on the ocean. Let's take 3 or 4 of those breaths. Breathing in this light dancing on the water. And exhale, settling back out into the horizon. Seeing the depths, the levels and the layers that we all feel in relationship and with ourselves. And nature has a way of showing it to us too, with the little person down in the lower right, just how tiny we are in comparison to this grandeur of the universe.
There's humility personified.
Yes. So we're awakening our hearts. We're allowing our hearts to open and feel the unity of life in nature and in humans. It's much harder in humans, so much easier in nature. So let's see if we can shed some light on all of this for you. So we're calling this the HeartWise approach. And can you recognize our wedding picture?
I remember, but I wouldn't say we're the same, exactly the same look as we had 51 years ago.
So I'm 22, you're 23, we're youngins. There we are getting married, and here we are in more current time. So we wanted to share a little bit about the HeartWise approach, and I'm going to unshare my screen for just a moment to show you our book that we have compiled. This is an anthology of 16 chapters, so you can read a chapter here and there. You don't have to read it all the way through, and it's wisdom for our times. Jim and I are creating this wisdom pool to collect evidence and narration about the human relationship world.
Not just from the authors, but from one another, from all the people who participate in our community.
All of you gathered around the wisdom pool. So in this picture, I just want to share the teaching that I like to offer about this graphic. We had a wonderful graphic designer make it for us. And you can see that each of these trees is unique. Each of us is unique. We're different. And we lived in the myth of trying to make the other person the way we wanted them to for many years. Oh man, that was a lot of suffering.
Fortunately, not too darn many years.
So if we look closely here, we see these little hand-stitched hearts, little precious hearts. And what if we could create this sacred space, this HeartWise space where our relationship can thrive? In the midst of our differences, in the midst of the challenges of life, in the midst of stress, that we could create this open field of the open skies and the groundedness of the earth, and that we could be companions on the path of life together in a way that
Hallelujah.
that supports and enlivens our life purpose. That's what we're proposing here.
So today, for the opening of our season 2 webinar series, Ruth and I are going to give an overview of 6 key elements that are involved in being HeartWise. And besides mentioning those, we're going to offer 3 suggested practices for each one of these elements. And that just makes it manageable for today's purposes to do 3. Obviously, there's an awful lot for each of these areas that we could get into. And what we'd like you to do is, as we go along, just highlight some of the areas that you feel like you need to work on or want to develop at this time of your life. So just make a note of that. Yeah, you're going to tell them about that to get your pen and paper. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll ask you to choose 2, select 2 of those in which you can focus on during the following week. All right.
That's great. We're giving you homework and you haven't even started the course.
That's right.
That's right.
So you got some more to say too before we rock and roll with those elements.
Yeah. So one thing that we've noticed, we've watched for many, many decades, this flow of evolution, we like to think of it as, from an old method of survival and the old challenges and how our nervous system is wired up for fight, flight, freeze, faint, comply. We have all these stress mechanisms inside of us, and our nervous system is like kind of keyed up. Our parasympathetic nervous system is ready for action, ready
Not
to
parasympathetic, but sympathetic.
I said sympathetic or
You said
sympathetic. Okay. Our sympathetic. The sympathetic is like the gas pedal. It's ready to go. And the parasympathetic is the brake, ready to slow down, to nourish, to replenish. And so there's this movement from the old method of how relationships go. We trigger each other off and we go into our mechanisms, we go into our defenses and fight, flight, and all that. And if we can see like a bridge moving into a new terrain, a new dimension of our human development, it's moving from the back of our brain, the amygdala, that's that survival hallmark, which we are grateful for, and shifting the energy into the frontal lobe where we can actually think and listen and see and feel and be present. It's a new way of being. It's a new stretch. It's a new membrane that we're pushing through the old into the new. And that's what we call HeartWise, where we honor the mind, we honor the heart, we honor the gut. We're a whole human being. The
heart's in the center of it.
And the heart is in the center of it. We're a whole human being that has lots of parts. And so the HeartWise approach is to be compassionate for all these parts. They're all vying for attention and they have old stories to tell and impulses to manage and all that. So we're in this thrust from the old to the new. It's a really powerful time. We've been in this field for a long time and we're seeing this accelerating. More and more people are becoming more aware, more awake, more conscious, more mindful.
It's an exciting time.
It's a very exciting time. So jump on board and start learning these tips and tools and skills and attitudes and things that you can actually practice in your day-to-day life. So like Jim said, pick out a couple that you're going to work with this week. And then next week we have our next webinar. So we have a series here of 6 webinars.
Right. And as we go through this, just to be clear, I want you to pick out more than 2. I mean, we're going to be going over 18. So most likely you're going to have more than 2 that are going to catch your eye and say, yeah, I could use a little bit of improvement in that area or enhancement. And then at the end, we'll say pick 2 just so you can have a concentrated area of focus and not be overwhelmed with doing too much. Okay.
Yeah,
and then another week you can do a couple more.
Very good.
All right. So should we go?
All right. We're going to come back to our slideshow.
Credit to our son-in-law who develops these images.
Yes.
Not that image.
Here we go. Whoops. I'm sorry. There we go.
All right. So the first one is on, as you can see, on communicating. And so these are three suggested areas that you can say, yeah, I need to work on that. And I'm going to elaborate a little on each one of these. So for owning your experience, using I statements, you've probably heard of this. I need, I feel, I want, I request. Those kind of statements are a lot easier to what should I say? Accept. They evoke less defensiveness from the other person than when you say you
never clean up your stuff.
Yes, and you make me feel a certain way.
Right.
And you can't make me feel anything. You can influence, but you can't make me. And yeah, so it's blaming and shaming, and that's kind of what she's doing, illustrating here.
Yeah.
So much better to go with I and take responsibility for your expression.
Ooh, right. Tough work.
Tough, but it's easy to hear in concept and a little trickier.
Right.
For communication in general, this is really foundational. And I meant to say this at the outset. It's foundational in all relationships, right? I mean, we can't not communicate. You're going to communicate something verbally and or non-verbally. So we're all in the process. This is a work in progress, right? Of refining our communication skills, all of us, always. So for that second one here, usually you get your point across when you can speak effectively and efficiently, and really directly, as this says. And obviously, we don't want to be strictly business. There's much more in life than just boom, 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 being that succinct. So certainly in certain situations, it's going to be wonderful, fine, delicious, desired to elaborate and to be colorful and descriptive. So that just requires some discernment as to who you're being with and what's involved in that situation. And not so good to get off on tangents a lot and to beat around the bush, no matter what you're doing, no matter whatever you're saying.
It's hard to follow. It's like, where'd they go? Like,
yeah, it happens a lot with ADD and ADHD.
Right. Or if there's too many layers to the communication, there's words are saying one thing, emotions are saying another, body language is
there's
saying
an
another.
Incongruence there, right? And then for this third one here, to give your partner your full attention. And this is one that we've been guilty of a fair amount. And it is so common in today's era of media to, be on the computer, be on your phone, TV, video games. These are all distractions when someone's trying to talk to you. So, and another thing around this is to not rehearse, avoid the temptation to rehearse what you're going to say next. That detracts and distracts from the listening.
I like the way this listening looks on the screen here, don't you? Our son-in-law, as we said, Chris drew these pictures. He really depicted this. The guy's speaking and she's listening.
So listen to me right now. I have a little more to say about this.
Go right ahead, sweetheart.
Okay. If you're not available at the moment, first of all, your partner should really notice that, find a time when the person is going to be listening or just to request it. But if you can't, then just say, hey, I'll talk to you in a few minutes, or I'll talk to you later on. And of course, if it's an urgent matter, then that needs to be much sooner than later, right?
Right.
So I think that's probably enough for what I want to say with regard to this. But just if any of these speak to you, just make a note of it, okay, that this is something that you need to work with. You want to go on?
I'm going to practice more listening. Thank you. Okay. All right. Resolving conflicts. This is the ideal, right? We've had this argument, upset, and we've done the repair and we've come back together, and isn't life wonderful? So this is the ideal. It's a difficult process because we get into conflicts. Conflict is the nature of reality. We differ, like the tree shows us. We're each different. And so we're going to have different opinions. And when we have an opinion that differs from the other, our nervous system picks that up as a stressor, as a threat. And so our defenses start to go wild. And so when we start escalating in our defenses, our voice might get louder, we might get more fervent, we might you know, or we can implode and go inside and shut down, flight, freeze, faint, feel weak. Conflict is a very difficult thing. And people that say, oh, we never fight, there's probably a lot of avoidance. So avoiding conflict does not solve conflict.
Take that to the bank.
Yeah. Keeping the peace and not saying anything, biting your tongue and holding it in may or may not be a good strategy. It causes ulcers and upset stomachs a lot. So what can we do? A lot of times we're in a power struggle. Our domain is being challenged, or somebody doesn't believe the way we do, or doesn't want to do something the way we do, or they did something that violated an agreement. There's some kind of conflict, and it usually involves an imbalance of power. So what can we do as we escalate? Can we stop? Can we just stop? Okay, I'm escalating. I'm getting really angry. I know where that goes. It's no place pretty. It takes weeks to clean up, years to clean up, wastes our whole weekend. I'm going to stop. I'm putting a stop sign up in my escalation. Stop. And I'm going to shift. I'm going to calm myself down, and I'm going to just say, you know, I'm really upset about that. It's just too hard to even talk about it. I'm going to go lay down and breathe a little bit, and please let's revisit it, because I just want to think about it some more. I feel guarded about that topic. So that's the I messaging, that's the communicating. And to be able to stop ourselves is a real act of will, because our drive is to conquer the enemy. And we've posed our beloved as the enemy.
Instead of a team player.
Yeah, so we combat each other. So this seemingly simple thing of stopping ourselves. I even feel myself like kind of rewinding my words to just go, whoa, I don't want to go there. I know where that goes, and I'm going to stop and shift. So that's one tip or tool you can use. And I was showing the escalation on a 1 to 10 scale. That's something I use a lot with myself and my clients. So 1 is a nice calm spot, 10 is blowing up or imploding. So learning to know where we are on there and stopping, and being able to regulate ourselves. So in this tip, it's about regulating our timing. Like Jim was saying, if we don't have a listener, and the other person's busy or preoccupied or upset or in a grouchy mood or hungry or whatever, they're not available. And that's not a good time to talk, because a lot of times there'll be a fight like that. Like the person's stressed. I had a client this afternoon. They're just too stressed in their life. And so somebody comes with a demand of some sort and they'll explode. So regulating the timing, and then the words, picking our words, like, what do I really want to say? And you were saying, don't rehearse while you're listening to the other person. But when you're taking a break, when I'm taking a break, I might rehearse. What is it I want to say? What words can I use that'll help? Sometimes I might use words like, I don't want to fight. I just really want to solve this.
Give a chance to discern, though.
Yeah, and noticing our tone, tone tells us a lot. If we have a bite to it, a resentment, a bitterness, an annoyance, a diminishment. So we want to strive for win-win solutions, where we figure out, what is this problem? We have let's solve one problem at a time so we don't pile it on. And we want to find what will solve that one problem in a way that we both feel good about. We both feel like it's a win-win.
You're satisfied. You're both satisfied.
Satisfied, yeah. All right.
Okay, so the next slide here has to do with self-care and couple care. So if you can, I know a lot of us, self-included, like to do personal exercises, but it can be fun, and it can be a bonding experience to find a couple times a week that you exercise together. And though you can vary the exercises, sometimes all you have time for is to take a quick walk or to stretch. And that might be, 10, 20 minutes. Other times, when you have more of a luxury, like on a weekend, perhaps,
Took a hike.
take a long hike like we did recently. You can ski, swim, go to the gym, and not necessarily stay with each other the whole time. And I know some people feel like, all right, you're a much better athlete than I am. You got to slow down for me or something like that. So there's ways of negotiating that. But that can be a really great form, something to do together. And highlight that if it's something that you feel like, is deficient for you or you'd like to be able to do more of. The second one, another good times that Ruth and I have really increased this in the last couple of years. We do various things that I'm going to mention. I mean, here, first of all, you want to be able to do this healthy thing, hopefully, have well-balanced diets. And these days, there's so many to pick from. There's vegan, there's keto, paleo, Mediterranean, South Beach. You can Google some of these and get ideas. I find it a little bit hard to sustain rigid diets a lot of times, but those are often very, very healthy for you. And what we've been doing is taking turns cooking, not necessarily alternating, but every week, each of us will cook a few meals. I'm often the sous chef, and we can also plan and coordinate meals together. I've learned a lot about spicings and broadened my repertoire.
Flavor. It's called flavor.
Oh, really? Yeah. And I'm tend to be more bland than she is. But and then this third one, lightening up. Boy, do we need that during the pandemic, huh? We're busy. We have so many demands on us. This is a great way to alleviate stress, to create some perspective, and to get some balance in our lives. So we're talking about playing here, recreational activities, and being downright silly sometimes. Not me, of course.
No.
I had a great time recently with my granddaughter. We got to visit in Washington State. She's 2.5, and I swear I played with her fantasy games that sometimes exceeded an hour. It was a great joy for me. So that's probably all I'm going to say for this, and let you move on to the next slide.
I'm just looking at the living well. It's like a play on words, to have the living well, the life source, the life spring in our midst, to keep drawing from it. And healthy foods is a great way to do it, and getting exercise and being in nature and lightening up, playing. Yeah. Life can be really good, So enjoying each other. I just want to do a caveat for anybody that is in the sober world that this could be juice. So let's just not trigger anybody, hopefully, but to take time out for each other, to really enjoy each other and to show curiosity about each other. Sometimes it's so ho-hum and I know you, and we don't even see anything new in that person. It's just like a flat, one-dimensional, I know you, but I'll tell you, I've known you for 54 years.
Almost.
I keep learning new things. Like, I didn't know that about you, or, oh, that's interesting.
Recently as this week.
I know. I didn't realize you knew that or thought about that or had that experience. So yeah, so being able to enjoy each other, to get to know each other, that tree, we're each different, tasting the flavors of each other. So we're big proponents of dating. We love to date. So we alternate in-house dates and out-of-house dates, and we love planning surprises. Oh my goodness, we have had some great surprise dates. We kidnap each other sometimes.
That's the most fun.
Yeah, but just in-house dates, set up a Chinese checker tournament, or, remodel something, or do something fun in the house, or do something out of the house. So the third one is to agree on a novel place to visit together. Where is it that we want to go that we haven't been?
And it could even be nearby.
It could be nearby. We found this really cool creek near our house. We didn't even know it was there. You walk on this little narrow path and there's rocks with this waterfall coming over. So get together with each other and brainstorm. What is it that's fun? What do we want to do in the house? What do we want to do out of the house? what do we want to do to plan something fun and enjoy each other and not use our grouchy mood as an excuse. I just want to say a short story. One time, Jim and I were going on a date downtown. We were all dressed up and we were driving. I can picture exactly where we were, and we were driving towards the highway. And I had my litany of my criticisms of what I wanted Jim to work on and how he wanted to fix himself up. And I started into my list, and he was like, really? Is this how you want to spend our date?
Yeah,
He
right.
said it very respectfully, and
Yeah.
it woke me up. It's like, no, that's not how I want to spend
And if
my
I would have
date.
jumped on her, we could have escalated.
Yeah, we would have had a fight. That would have been a date called a fight.
Mhm.
Yeah. So really being able to modulate our moods and do our things anyway, it can shift our moods. So enjoying
Especially if
each
we
other,
choose to, right?
especially if you choose to. And here's an aging couple like us, still enjoying each other. So there's hope in the world.
Are we an aging couple?
We are.
All right. So this is one of my very favorites. I actually created a 4-module course, little ad here. It's on Kajabi, on our HeartWise site. It's called Couple Spiritual Development. So I'm just going to give you a little snippet here, a little morsel. And the very first one here involves talking with each other about your current views, beliefs about, the divine, God, source, universe, by whatever name you call that higher power, and discussing in such a way that you really honor what the other person is saying. You may not agree. You can talk about ways that you're different, but at least to validate each other and really listen. Ask some questions of the other person so you can get to know a little bit more, a little bit deeper what they're really saying. What's really important by converse is just not to judge or criticize or debate with their convictions. You can note how your perceptions and beliefs are different, but not to derail or the other person, right, in the process.
It could stimulate conflict.
Yes, it could. And, on that note, this is like religion is like politics, and we're going beyond religion here. Spirituality can be involved religion, but can also be very different. I'm religious and spiritual, frankly. But, these kind of things, like, as I said, is like politics, are often very touchy subjects.
Yeah.
Avoiding
them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So number 2 here is to find at least one way, and hopefully more than one, on which you can participate together. You can pray together, even spontaneously. This doesn't have to be formalized, but you could, not only in your own home, but of course in congregations, be praying, meditating side by side, as is happening here. Well, it's not exactly side by side, is it?
It's a powerful diagram.
It sure is.
Illustration, yeah.
It reminds me of, I can't think of the mythic figure, but some very powerful mythic figure that I'm blocking on. But anyway, you can also meditate in groups together. You can just study on your own, contemplative religion, if you want, or comparative religion. That's what I meant to say. Mysticism. You can get involved in a discussion group about spirituality and learn from one another, like the wisdom pool we talked about. Being in nature is a wonderful form. I believe it's our best Bible because it's dogma free. And you can actually join a community. We've been in several intensive communities, and that can be a very rich experience.
I just wanted to say one quick thing. I have a couple who are in recovery. That's what prompted my comment about the wine. And they do the 12-step readings together, the daily readings, and that's their form of spirituality, even though they've never had a religion of any sort, but just to connect to their higher power and to realign their thinking and their perspectives. It's been really helpful.
And I haven't given you an exhaustive list either, but just a lot of examples. Volunteer work. I mean, there's so many agencies and organizations that really do need our assistance. It's a wonderful way to serve together and to be side by side in some of these activities. There's hospital and nursing homes that certainly need help, as do schools, religious organizations, nonprofits, and just do what you both enjoy. together, what you really value together, whether it's reading to school kids or building houses for Habitat for Humanity, cooking for for the homeless,
Working in the food bank.
yeah, visiting sick patients. So those are some ways in which you can really,
And that's spiritual.
that's very
'Cause we're
much.
connecting with something greater than ourselves, or being a part of something that's bigger than us.
I do kinship work for my current spiritual community. That's something I lead, and this is a key part of kinship, is service work. Here's the next slide.
You.
Mhm.
Yeah, check out Jim's class, Couples Spiritual Development. All right, dream building. Ah, wow. So you notice that we have small and large dreams, so much of our day could be spent in just the day-to-day tasks, and we lose sight of our dreams. I use this diagram with my clients where the dream is out in the distance, and the obstacles get so big that we can't even see the dream. So what if the dream is so big that the obstacles are dwarfed and I can still keep my eye on the prize, whatever that dream is. So what are some major common goals that you and your beloved have? What is it that you want to dream build about? I do that with a lot of clients, and it's so rich, just to get out of the mundanity and look wider, look bigger, look in your vision. So brainstorming, just taking out a document or a piece of paper or a notepad on your phone and brainstorm. What are some of our major goals? What are our common goals? What helps us feel like we're on the path together?
Envision.
Envision, yes. So you all know the power of intention, right? We set our intentions. Like I had the goal of building the deck up there, right?
Yes, you
And
did.
so I kept visualizing it, and I found a builder, and he built us a beautiful deck, So it's setting the intention and giving it our attention, and then removing the tension so it can happen, removing the obstacles. So in dream building, we want to dream outside the box about something that we really want. Like, even if it feels like, yes, but I'm not worthy. I can't do it. I'm not good enough, or any of that stuff that we get caught up in, to really think outside the box. And what is it that I want? Like this HeartWise Relationship Academy is something that I've dreamed up, and here it is. It's in fruition now. So you never know.
And I just want to comment on that for a second, if I may, that, it's a fine line sometimes between realistic and pie in the sky, far-fetched.
Sure, right.
Your case, some people might say, oh, look at you, you're in your 70s and you're going to develop this academy. How could that happen? And look at you, go roll.
Look at me go. It gives me juice because I'm living my main purpose. So, it makes us feel more alive when we're living our purpose. If we're just a little cog in the wheel and we're just going along, we nod off and we go to sleep, and we're zombies. It's the march of the zombies.
And let the music die inside.
Aww. Yeah. So, these are big conversations, and they take decades to develop the trust and the understanding and the openness. So go slow, go easy, or jump into it. Like, we really want to move to a farm and have chickens. Well, what's it going to take? So looking at, is this in alignment with our life purpose? What is our life purpose?
Your purpose is.
Purpose is. Yeah, that's a big question. How do we feel like it's right? I look to my head and my heart and my gut. I just get that alignment, that attunement, like, yes, this is mine. No, that's not mine. So learn how to discern and discuss your purposes and how you can support each other. It's such a gorgeous conversation to have with your partner. So these all take time, and they take concentration and being able to set aside time. Maybe your in-house date is about dream building. Maybe it's a vacation you want to plan. And we love doing that and looking on the computer and finding places we want to go and stuff. So make it fun, make it a date.
Good. So we've given you 18 different suggestions, obviously many more where that comes from, but we again wanted to focalize this for you. Hopefully you have highlighted some of those, as I requested earlier, invited, I should say, you to do. And now's the time to Talk with your partner if you have a partner, or else just look for yourself and pick 2 of those items that you can say, yeah, I'll take this on this week as a point of focus, and really try to increase what I do.
Should we run back through them to show them so they'll remember?
I think, well, that might be a little time consuming too.
Well, we have 7:36.
So, all right, if you want to do it.
All right, so let's just look at these again and see what we're talking about here. I'll go back. So going back to the other slides. Whoops. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Got some nice nature ones at the end too, don't we?
Okay, there we go. So being able to, we'll look at these nature scenes at the end as well.
You go into a trance.
Yeah. So think about this, owning your own experience. Read them to yourself. What is it that you want to pick, that you want to work on?
And if you're a great communicator, unlike most of us, then you may not pick any of these.
What would be important for you in resolving conflicts in a way that you could both feel good about?
And by the way, on that note, if you look at number 2, for example, you might say, well, I'm usually good at picking timing, and my words, I'm careful, but I got to watch my volume. So,
dominance, power, yeah, power inequities. Maybe this is something you put last. A lot of people are still in the illusion that taking care of ourselves is selfish. I mean, really, like taking time away from family duties feels selfish to a lot of people. So that's another one of those old to new. Just cross the bridge and say, if I don't take care of myself, I'm not worth much. I can't function very well. I'm not very happy to be around. I don't get things done clearly. Taking care of ourselves is essential.
And some of this, again, can be just experimented with, such as the cooking or a new form of exercise.
And we notice that we have filters, that we have our judgments and our resentments and our storehouses of stuff, and it can really interfere with us enjoying each other. So sometimes it's good just to separate that. Okay, let's talk about that upset later. Let's just enjoy each other now. If we have a plan, we know we're going to talk about it, but not avoid it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's important. And let's go play.
That's a type of resilience, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, adaptive resilience and connecting spiritually.
Yes, well, I think I've said enough about that, but
I'm just letting people see the question.
This is a center point in our lives, though, and I find that there's a lot of research. I mentioned this in my course. It's a lot of research that shows the health benefits. People tend to live longer. They have stronger marriages or relationships when there's a spiritual center to their lives.
Beautiful. So you can reach us at heartwise.us. So make a note of that. And if you're a Facebook person, we have our private group, HeartWise Relationship Academy. Look for the logo with the trees. And we also will post these questions that we just did, the 6 elements, and ask you in that HeartWise relationship group, which are your strong ones, which are you working on, so we'll get us some engagement. So be sure to go there. And if you want to email us and be in touch, info@heartwise.us.
I want to say something else on that community page. This is a great opportunity to go beyond just the so-called experts, right? We're not dissing any of ourselves or any of our presenters, but, to be able to talk amongst each other as peers. And that's the wisdom pool that we referred to earlier. There's so much learning that can take place in so many ways you can contribute to other people by giving your input.
It's beautiful. Yeah. So we have this whole series. We set it up as a 6-part series. Tonight is number 1. So you can buy the whole package, and these are all going to be recorded, and you can watch them at your leisure, or you can be live with us and participate. So the next one is Laurie Weiss, and hers is something like, what do you do when you can't change your partner? And so she has a great technique, a tool that's well researched and really works. So check that out. So each week for
She's a master certified coach.
Yes.
As well as therapist.
Right. So we have a whole headliners of great people that are going to be a part of this webinar series. This is our season 2. So you can look back at season 1 and pick out some of those that you'd like to buy and watch at your leisure. There's a great one on repair after you've had a fight and a rupture, how you do repair. There's just a lot of great ones in there. And then we had somebody who's going to teach a class for us for the Academy on Enneagram. And she said, how about if I give you a bonus webinar? So she's doing in November a free bonus. So keep in touch with us about the webinars and get on our mailing list, because you'll get these notices and tips and tools and interesting articles and things that would be of help to you. We also have a podcast. It's called
Give Your Love Life Some Love.
So we interview people, and we interview a lot of the HeartWise Relationship Academy people that were in the book. So you can get our book, get a copy of our book on Amazon, HeartWise. And so there's a lot of interviews with them and with webinar leaders and course creators. And some of them are just us talking, and
other people too, just couples who,
couples that
hearing their experiences.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, we're just dedicated to educating and helping us move along in our evolution and in our development. So we'd like to just take a few moments and let you look at these beautiful nature scenes as you maybe journal a little bit, or take some breaths, or connect with your beloved. These are our next steps: the HeartWise book, the webinars, the podcasts. Just let your eyes widen, let your heart open.
Expand. Expansive field.
It's like a lavender field.
Mm-hmm.
Can you smell it?
Not now.
And I love bridges. Here's a nice little pier going out into the open.
Yeah, so you can think of this metaphorically, a bridge that you're building in your life, perhaps to one another, or perhaps to some entrepreneurial activity of your own. It's another example of building a bridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, moving from the old to the new, step by step, board by board.
Nice.
Just to feel the openness, feel that openness in your heart. Let's just take 3 breaths, inhaling into the heart, exhaling back out to the circle. Thank you all for being with us at the HeartWise Relationship Academy. I don't know why I said that. HeartWise
we are
Relationship
kind of a committee too.
Academy. And Jim and I are founders, and we are opening this to so many people. Whoever wants to be a part of it, as a presenter, as a participant, as a learner, as a community gatherer of other people. So please stay in touch with us. We are launching a Love Ambassador program where you can sign up and share what we're doing here, and you can get a commission on the sales that you bring into our academy to help us grow.
Let us hear from you.
Thanks so much for being here.
Indeed. Bye, everybody.
Take good care. Bye.